Throughout Warframe, you're gonna find yourself a whole lot of weapon types. You're gonna find photon cannons that explode on impact. You're gonna fire bows with explosive arrowheads. You're gonna be using yourself an actual ship's cannon, and more. The question is, can a standard rudimentary assault rifle compete with anything so flashy? And the answer is, oh, hell yes. Hey guys, welcome back. As always, my name is Leyzar, and today we're gonna be re-diving deeper into the Soma Prime, an absolutely outstanding primary weapon. As per the usual, I'm gonna have a cheap build, something affordable that most will be able to build, but fear not, it does pack one serious punch. But then we're gonna max everything out. We're gonna be using Prime mods, Rivens, Galvanized mods, Warframe buffs, the Helminth system. We're gonna go with the Steel path, essentially the works. That said though, please bear in mind that my builds and guides usually take a more new player friendly tone, simply because there is a lot of info here and I want anybody watching to understand how the weapon functions and how it should be built, and why. So in case you're a vet and you already know most of this stuff, please bear with me. And with that out of the way, let's jump into the Soma Prime. Let's begin by checking out how the weapon handles without any mods equipped, and for that, just a couple of our usual free shots. The Soma Prime is a standard assault rifle in Warframe, but this one comes with a whopping 200 magazine capacity, meaning you're gonna be doing this. Yep, basically you're gonna be firing for days and days, and then you got a quick reload, boom, and done. Back to 200 magazine capacity, and the ammo reserves is plus another 800, so you got a total of 1000 bullets to put into your enemies. What about that nasty recoil? Well, this should be about 15 meter test. As you can see, the recoil kind of jiggles all over the place, left, right, up, down, all of that good stuff, just like she likes it, but it does paint the entire crosshairs. You're not going to be having a whole lot of bullets outside of the crosshairs, and it is quite manageable from my point of view, and you can also use stabilizer. So my friends, it's a hit scan attack, it doesn't have much of a recoil, huge magazine capacity, good fire rate. What is there to complain about when it comes to the Soma Prime? Well, nothing. Really? Honestly, as far as assault rifles go, this one is pretty perfect for a more standard experience in Warframe. So let's hop into actions and plug in that Auto King Catalyst to double that mod capacity. 100% worth it on the Soma Prime. If you just got the weapon now, enjoy it, my friends. It's one hell of a primary. That said, accuracy 28.6, we don't care about that one all that much. Critical chance is high at 30%. Again, a 30% base is not bad. And a huge multiplier at 3.0x. You know what? It does need that because the total damage is 12. That's low. It's not a whole lot of damage, but on the other hand, it's per bullet and we are putting a whole lot of bullets into our enemies. Now the build for my weapon takes up 5 forma, but for the weapon build I'm recommending you guys 2, maximum of 3 forma should do it. It depends, you got the Prime mod, you got the Galvanized mod, you got a nice Rivet and all that good stuff. If you do, you might have to go to 5. The fire rate by default is 15, again, stellar magazine of 200, beautiful, lovely, I love it. No, it's alarming because, you know, assault rifle. And the reload, which I said is quick, is not really all that quick. It's 3 seconds. 3 seconds is a lot, but again, in actual gameplay, you don't really feel it all that badly because you got that 200% magazine. And unless you overdo it with fire rate, you're gonna be all good in terms of usability without touching this one. Riven Dispo, 3 out of 5, which means the weapon is not ultra popular, which means Rivens are definitely worth it for the Soma Prime. Status chance is low by 10% per bullet. Not good. Not great at all. But again, we are putting a whole lot of bullets into our target, so it doesn't really matter all that much with a trigger auto. And the damage layout is impact, puncture, and slash. Now in the past, I was a little bit upset of seeing impact here because it's simply annoying. But nowadays, because of a certain galvanized mod by the name of Aptitude, I'm glad to see it. When it comes to the XL slot, well, you got 2 options, mostly. Well, you got multiple, but let's just talk about the important ones. In terms of usability, stabilizer. Let me show you really quick what kind of effect this one has. Oh, come on. Better than before. It feels better. And you know what? More bullets into your targets and less into walls, and that means a whole lot more DPS. So consider stabilizer. If not, you can go with vigilante supplies, you get the ammo back, 5% chance to enhance critical hits from primary weapons. You can get this one from your little sentinel, so it doesn't really matter all that much. As for the MT Arcane slot, well, it's obvious. Are you gonna be using this one in tandem with a melee? Yes or no? Yes, dexterity. No, merciless. Because essentially a whole lot of your targets are gonna be dying under the effects of slashes, right? So if that's the case, Deadhead isn't really all that usable. On the other hand, if you wanna make a build with corrosive and just raw damage, for example, you're going down to Deimos, then definitely go for Deadhead over Merciless. Now, Merciless comes with the advantage of 100% ammo maximum and 30% reload speed, which helps a lot. Keep in mind, we're going to 2.3 seconds reload speed, coming at them fast and hard. Now, speaking about fast and hard, sorry, let's check out a standard build. Damage acceleration, multi-shot with split chamber, critical chance and critical damage through the use of Point Strike, Vital Sense, and Hata-Satya. More on that just a tad later. And of course, the two 60-60 vital mods, Rhyme Rounds, Malignant Force, followed up by Hunter Munitions and Stabilizer in the Weapon Excellence slot. Now, needless to say, my friends, this is more of a new player setup, a newer player setup, or perhaps a more casual player setup that doesn't have the fancy mods just yet, but don't worry, we're gonna max everything out just a tad later. I think we need to talk about crit in Warframe. My friends, it's really not all that's cracked up to be. It's really not. I mean, past a certain point, the diminishing returns on crit are stupid high. It's just as simple as that. Essentially, there's no built-in diminishing returns into the actual game. It's math diminishing returns. Basically, the more you add, the less you get. So think of it like that. Now, we are using the Hata-Satya. If you don't know where to get this one, go down to Deimos. It's not that hard to get, and it says the following. Each hit increases critical chance by 1.2%, resets upon reloading or holstering, yes? So you need 400 something bullets to max this one out. It caps out at 500%, but keep in mind this is per hit, and therefore multi-shot will be playing a role, so more multi-shot on this weapon is definitely the way to go. You don't need to overdo it with crit. Honestly, you don't even need to use the Hata-Satya or Point Strike at the exact same time. You can either use one or the other and use something like Shred for more fire rate and punch through. But I know you guys love the pretty numbers on the screen, so we're gonna go like so. One last discussion regarding Point Strike versus Critical Delay, because I already hear you guys screaming at me. Why not go for Critical Delay? 200% is better than 150%. Yes, it's better, but you get that minus 20% fire rate, which also means I'm going to be building up my Hata-Satya slower. In the case of the Soma Prime, this becomes an option. It really depends on what you prefer. Don't just see the big number. Think about the usability as well, right? I'm going to build up my Hata-Satya faster with normal Point Strike, so therefore there will be a turning point where I get more crit over time with Point Strike than with Critical Delay. On the other hand, this is a two-way street, simply because minus fire rate in the case of a bullet hose, while being a negative thing by default, definitely, also means less bullets in walls, missed bullets, and more bullets into the enemy, so there you go. It's not gonna make a huge difference in actual performance, so we're gonna be testing out the weapon like so. Nothing up my sleeve, no corrosive projection, none of that, so it misleads you guys with terrible test result. Level 120, corrupted heavy guy! Here we go, mama. Straight for headshots. Oh man, I love that crit build-up. Now, what I need... beautiful. Look at that, I already got 106.8% from the Hata-Satya. You can look at my buff bar, and slowly the orange crits are showing up. Beautiful, I still got like, what, more than half my magazine. Standard setup, my friends. Standard, nothing out of the ordinary, and I'm absolutely shredding these high-level targets. You're not even gonna see these in Sortie Free. If you wanna see these guys, ooh, free that! 180% more crit, I love it, it's beautiful. Look, look, look. 12 bullets remaining. Can 12 bullets with all that crit kill this corrupted heavy gun? Nope, didn't get the slashes I wanted. You see, that's the problem with the Soma Prime. While it does put a whole lot of bullets into your target, they're tiny little mosquito bites. Oh, I mean, don't get me wrong, sure, they pack a punch if you put enough of them into your target. And this is a standard way you can go about it. Now, if you are the type of fellow that understands that crit is not all that's cracked up to be, because it's not. It's really not. Why don't you go, not Prime, normal one. Why don't you go for Shred, alright? Let's go for Shred. Let's for a second go like this. We'll drop the Hata-Satya, we'll go for Shred, like so. Wait, you don't wanna? You don't wanna, of course you don't wanna. Like this, right? And in the final slot, we're gonna be using Critical Delay. I'm not a fan of the jiggly on the screen because I don't have stabilizer anymore, but as you can see, the weapon definitely packs one hell of a punch, even with a variation such as this. Basically, what I'm trying to say is go for whatever variation of the build you enjoy more. If you want a little bit more crit, go with the Hata-Satya. If you don't have a problem with the minus fire rate, then definitely check out critical delay. As you can see, the weapon definitely does pack a punch, and it can easily take out heavy duty targets. Now that that's out of the way, let's talk about a maxed setup for the Soma Prime. It would look something along the lines of this. Now, there's no serration here. I'm an advocate for front-loaded damage, especially when it comes to content up until level 200. Fine. Past level 200, definitely not going for something like serration on heavy caliber, but until then, I would still go with front-loaded damage. But a more max setup looks something like this. You're going to be dropping your serration because you're going to be going with Galvanized Aptitude. You're going to be getting extra damage from Primary Merciless as well. 80% status chance plus the damage per status type affecting the target for 20 seconds. It does stack up 2 times, so we're going to be getting a whole lot of damage from this. What do we got on our targets? Impact, puncture, slash, and vital. We got the 4 types on it, and of course you can use a primer as well to get even more. Now, of course, on a build such as this, again, you have the option. Isn't that too much crit? Yes and no. You can drop either the Hata-Satya or Point Strike and go for something like Shred, Prime Shred, or a Bane mod. That's entirely up to you. The Riven brings critical chance, multi-shot, which is so important for the Hata-Satya, cold damage, which allows me to make vital with a single 60-60 mod, and minus zoom, which is, in this case, perfect. We're gonna test the weapon out like this, with Primary Merciless and all whatnot. Now, you will see a pretty noticeable change in gameplay after, and performance, after we get a couple of kills, this being the Galvanized setup and all whatnot. Take a look at that. Look at all the buffs. I just love it when like a Galvanized setup. Look at that. Beautiful, man. Absolutely fantastic. And while crit isn't, oh my god, isn't all that's cracked up. Look at that. You can't deny how beautiful it is. And I'm capped. 500. Did you notice? I was capped. Would you like to see that one more time? One more time because it's fun? Why not? Why not? Already capped, man. Already capped. Look at it. Clear enough? Absolutely bloody insane. I love this build on the Soma Prime. But shooting standing still targets is all well and good, Laser, but what about path steal? Well, off to the void. That just a couple of bullets is more than enough to take out a high level target. But granted, that was a Korpai, and Korpai falls for everybody. But look, at level 130-ish, Corrupted Heavy Goon in Steel Path. No chance whatsoever. Now, on this setup, I do have Revenant, I do have my Panzer Volpafila. Oh, look, another Corrupted Heavy Goon. I love these targets, super tough and super gone. Revenant, of course, will be applying crowd control because of Mesmer Skin. He is just simply that awesome. One of my favorite frames in the game. Take a look at that. So, my friends, if you enjoy bullet hose type of weapons, look no further than this absolutely glorious primary weapon, the Soma Prime. There's simply not a whole lot to complain about this weapon. In every single review, what I try to do is highlight the positives and the negatives. But when it comes to the Soma Prime, there's not a whole lot of negatives to speak of. I mean, sure, you can say, hey, listen, dude, 2021, no AoE, what about... True. Granted, but you know what? Not everybody wants to play AoE. It is satisfying trying out a single target weapon such as this one that can absolutely shred high level targets. So 100% it is viable for Steel Path. Now back to the simulacrum. I still have one more thing I want to show you. Now, realistically speaking, the one problem we do have is the ammo, right? You're gonna run out of ammo eventually, and then the party's over, and nobody wants the party to be over, right? Enter Energized Munitions, my friends. Now, this is an ability that you get from tier... was it 5? I think it was 5 from the Helminth. Look at this one. Increases the efficiency of your ammo consumption. Drain, duration, all of that good stuff. 75% ammo efficiency. Take a look at what that means in actual gameplay. I'm going to activate it, and I'm just simply going to start shooting at the enemies. Again, it is the same build as before, meaning we're going to have to get a couple of kills to get those galvanized stacks. Look. Now, nothing is perfect, and neither is the whole Energized Munitions thing. The one thing that I can't stand about it, you gotta remember to reactivate it all the time. Even with all of my duration, and it only lasts for about 14 seconds, which is not a whole lot. So in normal gameplay, you might simply forget about it. And one additional thing, but this is not an Energized Munitions thing, this is more of a Hata-Satya thing. Are you the type of player that used to play competitive FPS and you got a reflex about reloading? Forget about that reflex, like right now. Outside of that, my friends, Energized Munitions works beautifully well with the Soma Prime and the Hata-Satya. 100% recommend. Now, outside of that, we can bump everything up with Warframe buffs, and for that, we're going to be using the ever so lovely Lady Mirage Prime and her fantastic assets, of course, obviously. Now, when it comes to the actual buffs, corrosive projection against Grenier is definitely the way to go. Don't feel forced into this one, please. Don't just simply run it for the sake of it, right? So if your build calls for rejuvenation, shield disruption, loot, whatever else, it doesn't really matter. Simply use the aura of your choosing. What is more impactful than the aura are the arcanes. Now, normally I preach Arcane Avenger. Because, you know, 45% critical chance additive after bonus, fantastic and all of that good stuff because it applies to your primary, secondary, and to your melee at the exact same time. But in this case, I got crit coming out the wazoo, so no crit in this case. Fire rate, Arcane Acceleration. Enter this one on critical hit, 30% chance for 90% fire rate to primary weapons for 9 seconds. As for your second arcane, I fully expect this one to be your Energize, right? Or your armor, or whatever else trick you got going on. But if you want some front-loaded damage, you can go for Rage. Again, both of these arcanes can be farmed from the Eidolons on Cetus. Acceleration from the second one, and Rage from the third one. On Headshot, that 15% chance for a massive 180% damage. Fantastic. When it comes to companion buffs, two options. You can either go for something like a Vulpaphyla. This will add vital to your enemies, which is huge. If they already have vital on them, then your option is to go back into your weapon and change things up, right? You don't no longer need vital on your weapon. You can make something like corrosive. Absolutely insane. The second option, the usual option, is to go with something like Carrier or any other Sentinel you want. Just make sure that on your little Sentinel's weapon, you have the 4 Vigilante mods. Offense, supplies, fervor, and armaments for that 20% chance to enhance critical hits from primary weapons. Honestly, in this case, considering all the crits, no, I'm just gonna go with the Panzer Vulpaphyla as per the usual. Now, I love the Panzer Vulpaphyla, I honestly do, but it's not 100% of the time sure on that vital proc, so do bear that one in mind. Level 160! Corrupted heavy goons as per usual. We're gonna activate the Empower for Mirage, then an absolutely outstanding damage increase, an 840% Eclipse, and of course, her ever so lovely clones. The problem is when you go with Mirage, an exercise and restraint. I mean, you don't need to do this much damage to absolutely kill every... They're gone. They're gone. I wasted a whole lot of bullets for no actual reason. Oopsie, and my poor little... companion died, but of course, being a Vulpaphyla, it never really dies. It just kind of transforms into a Sentinel-looking thing. Obviously, Energized Munitions and a build such as this would definitely make sense, but as you can see, my friends, you just don't need to. You don't need to when you have this much damage, when you have the clones, when you have everything. You got the magic trick of now you see them, now you don't. And I do believe that's pretty much it. The Soma Prime is an absolutely outstanding primary weapon as long as you don't care about area of effect. You can add a little bit of area of effect to something like Punch Through, perhaps Prime Shred, definitely a good idea, but it's not an AoE weapon in the true sense of the word. If you're interested in a more AoE approach to Warframe, I got just the thing for you. Link the cards right now for the outstanding Brahma of Warframe. As always, my name has been Leyzar. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, favorite, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed the content. And if you got any feedback for me, I would love to read it in the comment section down below. You can also catch me on Twitch. We do live streams, Facebook, Twitter, all the usual places. Hey, and if you love the content, consider supporting us via Patreon. Link in the cards right now. Until next time, my friends. Bye-bye.